All right, in today's video, we are going to answer a question that I recently got on my Klein ratcheting crimpers. I think you need to hear it. All right, so you're saying, Otis, what kind of comment can you get on crimpers? I guess you can get comments just about anything, but this was actually a good comment because it's a lot of times we don't have patience with our tools, okay? And I think that's probably the biggest problem we have with tools. Sometimes we get aggravated and we want to throw them out the window, but in reality, if we would just kind of practice with them a little bit, you know, they usually work out pretty good, unless they're, you know, cheap tools or something like that. But these right here, again, these are the Klein VDV 226-110 ratcheting crimpers, and they are top shelf, let me tell you this. But anyway, I could see where you could have some problems. The question that I got on this was about the blade. Got a blade here, and you got a blade, let me show it down here. You got a blade here, and you got a blade here. This one right here cuts the jacket, cuts the cable. This right here cuts the connector itself, the end of that connector. When you put the connector in to crimp it, let me get it in. Oh, gotta have that open. Know how to use your equipment, Otis. Anyway, and that cuts off the wires whenever you're crimping it right there. So that right there, I can understand. There's no adjustment. You wouldn't need an adjustment there because this is in a fixed position, and its job is just to cut the wires off. So this one I don't believe is what he was referring to. I think he was referring to this one right here. This particular blade, again, it's for the jacket, and it's to actually cut the cable from the get-go. So whenever you're crimping this down or ratcheting it down to cut that jacket, I think that's where the problem is. Let me get this started over here. Now, if I'm taking a brand new piece of cable and I'm trying to prepare the jacket, I can sort of understand why if you crimp it all the way down and hold it tight like that, maybe that would cut the actual wires in there beyond the jacket. In other words, you're just trying to score that jacket. You're not trying to cut that jacket. You're just scoring it and it'll break off. So, but now when I turn it, look, I can't even turn the cable. It's because I'm holding it too tight. But if you let it go just a little bit, in fact, let's start over. And if you'll just let it sit on the actual cable itself, just, in other words, you could feel it with your thumb there. It's just touching the jacket, and maybe a little bit tighter than it just touching, but not much, just a little bit. And then just work yourself around it, let go, and there it is. See, it just cuts it perfectly. And see, I just scored it. It didn't cut the jacket, it just scored the jacket. So whenever I bring it back around this way, look, boom, it just pops it loose. So if you don't put a lot of pressure on there, you're not going to have that problem. But again, I don't have that problem with these crimpers at all anyhow. But you can see right there, look, there's no skint wires anywhere. It's a perfect cut. So it could be the pressure that you're putting on these crimpers. You may be just squeezing it down too tight, and you know, maybe a little bit more than what I just said. Let me try that again. I won't crimp them. I'll crimp them a little bit more than what I normally would, to where I could still turn it, and then turn it like this, and maybe it cut the wires. Let's get in here and look. Get my glasses on so I can see. I know you can see, but I can't. No, I still didn't score it anywhere. Yeah, I'm not seeing any marks, which is a no-no. We don't want to see marks. I'm not seeing any marks. But had there been some marks there, and maybe because I've used this for 8 years with the same blade, I don't know. But even if it was brand new blade, you don't want to come down so tight that it's, and there might be a little nick right there. Maybe a little nick. No. Anyway, it could be just the amount of pressure that you're putting on it, because this is where it bottoms out. See this right here? Look, it bottoms out there. You can't go any further. But as you can see, that's a little deeper than, I mean, you could see, look at that right there. I mean, you could see that's definitely deeper than the jacket, so it may be too much. I might still be holding it out enough to where it's not doing anything. Let's try it again. Let's give it another shot and give it a little bit more snug to where it's almost bottomed out, where I can still turn it. See, I can still turn it. And see, you could tell, look at that. It cut the cable. It didn't score it, it cut it. So here, let's see if I actually did some damage. It looks like I may have. Now there's the Kevlar. Kevlar's not scored at all. Look there. Wow. Maybe my blade is just perfectly dulled. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it. It cuts really, really well. But that could have cut it right there, and it didn't. I don't even put a fingernail there. I don't even feel any. Maybe a little bit. Yep, I'm feeling a little bit there. Yeah, I'm feeling a little catch right there where it cut it, but it's still not enough that it would hurt it. Not really. It did a pretty good job. So. Anyway, with new crimpers, it may have did just a little bit. But again, if you just don't bear down all the way, you know, just completely until it's, you know, nothing left where you can't even turn the cable, yeah, it might do it there. But just go easy on it. Again, when you touch the cable like that, just touch the cable and make that turn. And look, it's going to pop loose every time. Perfect. To where you just peel it right off and you're ready to put a connector on that, and it'll work out really great. The other thing is I was thinking, is this appears to be an adjustable blade. You see the little slot that's cut in there? If you took that screw out, you'd have a slot. Well, what that is for is you'll use the scoring blade all the time, but you may never use the cutter blade that much. You may just use, you know, some of your cutter pliers, something like that. And you may not need to use that side of it. And if that's the case, you can unscrew this screw right here, flip that blade over, tighten it back down, and now you got a brand new blade on this side, which would be great. It gives you double the time on that blade, although these blades are real cheap. But there's no adjustment. There's zero adjustment on either blade. But I think the biggest deal is again, I'll do it again, is that the weight on here pushing down, or it could be the type of cable. Again, the type of cable that you use is everything, because I mean, there's all sorts of companies making cable, and each are making them a little bit different on the jackets and the wires and things like that. So I could see where that could be. Maybe it was the type of cable that was used. I don't know, but there's a multitude of reasons why it was cutting into the cable to where there wouldn't be any adjustment, or maybe it wasn't cutting enough. Maybe you're trying to use Cat 3 in here, and if you use Cat 3 in here, guess what? Not going to do a good job, because Cat 3 is a real skinny cable and it's not big enough for it to actually cut. So Cat 5, Cat 6 these work great with Cat 6. Cat 5, I could see where they don't cut all the way sometimes, because every now and again I'll get in a spot where there's some Cat 5 that I'm having to deal with, and it doesn't want to score perfectly good, and I have to bear down a little harder. But when that happens, what I do is I just kind of lift up on the cable, you know, just kind of give it a little bit of lift while I'm twisting, and it seems to do the job as far as that goes. But again, there's no adjustment, but I don't think you need an adjustment. I think if you had an adjustment, it would just get in the way. So it's just going to be a finesse. You finesse it, and you're gonna do a good job every single time. Hey, I hope this helps, and if it does, give us a thumbs up and like this video, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you'll know when a brand new video comes out.